2014 has radically changed Ukraine. Military operators in the east of the country have demonstrated the incredible courage of the Ukrainian people. Every day, the names of the heroes who stand on guard for peace and the sovereignty of their homeland go down in the modern history books of Ukraine. The history of the revival, formation, and achievements of the armed forces of Ukraine and Ukrainian law enforcement agencies are presented in the special project titled Ukraine in Uniform. Blue beret, blue and white striped shirt, excellent physical form, strong character and courage make these soldiers stand out among other military units. Watch more details about the paratroopers of the air mobile forces, the elite of the Ukrainian army, further in this program. The elitism of the Blue Berets lies certainly not in their alleged privileged position. The matter is that there is no other kind of troops in Ukraine that possesses such a high degree of strategic and tactical mobility. This is the Ukrainian Air Mobile Forces. Ukrainian paratroopers repeatedly show their high level of training and courage, in particular while taking part in military operations in the Donbass. Having nearly 3 years of experience in the participation of the Air Mobile Forces in the military operations in the east of our country, we once again proved to ourselves and to everyone that we are almost universal units and formations and are ready to fulfill any tasks assigned to us, starting with carrying out defensive operations and the building up of defensive points and ending with raids in the rear of the enemy, coordinated actions in the composite of Air Mobile Forces and performing airborne assault operations. Military operations in the east of Ukraine have made their own adjustments to the reorganization, therefore, the air mobile brigades were reformed into airborne assault brigades. The conditions of the current military conflict showed us that the number of Ukrainian air mobile forces has to be increased. First of all, the composite of the main types of military equipment began to change. In addition, contrary to pre-war views, the airborne forces received samples of heavy weaponry. Moreover, the fire and artillery power of the airborne forces was significantly enhanced. Military units have become more universal and more capable of performing the tasks that are assigned to them. Special centers have been established in order to prepare the paratroopers that would meet the new requirements. First of all, a cardinal approach to the training system was changed. The emphasis was put on individual training of military servicemen to carry out tasks within the unit. A true paratrooper can jump with a parachute, make a march throw for tens of kilometers, be the first to go into battle and perform tasks of a different nature. These forces have always been appreciated for their universality. They boast a reconnaissance sniper, anti-aircraft sniper and combat engineer who has to master more than a dozen variants of military specializations. Therefore, such universal soldiers are trained at the Air Mobile Forces Training Center.
Датою створення навчального центру є 21 травня 2015 року.
The training center was established on May 21, 2015. This idea was suggested by the commander of the Air Mobile Forces a long time ago. In fact, this is his offspring, which he created. And of course, it was created for the professional training of servicemen, of military units and sub-units of the Air Mobile Forces.
Для частин та підрозділів високомобільних десантних військ.
The training center conducts training in 20 main military disciplines, and in addition, it provides course training in 50 additional military specializations. Of course, physical training is an important factor for a paratrooper. Every student has to become ready to demonstrate his or her endurance. Therefore, a new method of physical training for the paratroopers of the Air Mobile Forces was developed at the training center. Exercises from the training system of NATO units have been introduced to the physical training program. In particular, these are exercises with a log and tires, which develop strength, endurance and collective cohesion of the military forces. The physical training of paratroopers is based first of all on the specifics of their service, which requires special qualities from the serviceman. Moreover, paratroopers are engaged in physical exercises with a special mental approach. Their results are usually higher than those of others. Ukrainian military servicemen understand that all the acquired skills will help them survive in various circumstances, including monumental and even extreme ones. It concerns strength, speed and endurance. For example, hand-to-hand combat techniques. Military men needed both in everyday life for their protection and the protection of their relatives, as well as for carrying out special tasks to neutralize the enemy. Hand-to-hand combat is considered a means of moral and psychological education. The main goal is the formation of self-confidence. There will be no physique and strength without moral spirit. If you do not have the strength, you do not have the moral spirit. Without it, you're incapable of performing the assigned tasks. Parachute. A real paratrooper cannot be imagined without jumping with a parachute. However, it is necessary to pass a serious pre-jump preparation test. No cadet at the training center is allowed to actually jump with a parachute without undergoing special training. First, one must learn how to properly fold a parachute, so it opens up after the countdown. Everything depends on folding a parachute. Particularly, the jumps depend on how the cadet or a soldier folds his parachute. But before folding the parachute, one must undergo a 5-day training program. We take spare parachutes, go through special training at a special complex, and then fold the main parachutes. This parachute we check personally. There are 5 stages of folding main and reserve parachutes. Each stage is checked by those who fold the parachute and those responsible for parachute folding.
Кожний етап перевіряється і тим, хто укладає парашут, і тих, хто відповідає за них.
In addition to the correct parachute folding, there are still many moments that future paratroopers absolutely must know. We have to monitor everything, starting with the exit from the aircraft to get out right and land correctly, as taught by the instructors. And of course, correctly open the parachute skirt. And every element has to be very well studied and executed in practice. The entrance to the aircraft, the exit and the jump itself, all actions of the paratrooper are worked out at a special airborne complex before a parachute jump is performed. At this complex, we work out these details so that the soldier feel and realize their actions. It is necessary to work out everything to automatism, the muscle memory, and to remember all the details. When goes on board, he is ready. Most cadets refuse if they feel that they are not ready. If a cadet comes on board, then he is ready to make a parachute jump. When the cadets completed the course of pre-jump training, they are ready to jump with a parachute.
Перший стрибок, ознайомлюючись, здійснюється з висоти 800 метрів.
The first exploratory jump occurs from a height of 800 meters. At the moment, we do not make jumps from a height of more than 800 meters, and in general, at our training center we only train for introductory jumps. Combat jumps include equipment and weapons. These jumps can be done from 600 and 300 meters.
Зі зброєю ці стрибки можуть здійснюватися з 600 метрів і з 400 метрів.
The paratroopers themselves believe that parachute jumps are the most exciting moments in their life. Each subsequent jump is not like the previous one, and the sensations of the first free flight cannot be compared with anything.
Хоробрі з ними. Дух піднімає солдата.
The first jumps check bravery. Because he is a paratrooper, he did the impossible. Perhaps because he was trained by the instructors. He was at an altitude of 800 meters, folded his parachute, and started feeling himself that much stronger. The parachute is not meant to make a jump, but to perform a combat mission. The combat mission can be different, both in the anti-terrorist operation zone and at the training center. A parachute jump is not a goal in itself, it is a way of arrival at the battlefield. At the training center, military servicemen study weapons the air mobile forces are equipped with. For example, cadets who master the specialization of the commander of a Zu-23-2 anti-aircraft unit first study the theory in the classroom, and after that go to the training ground for firing exercises.
В цьому класі в основному проходять заняття це технічна.
Technical and special training is held in this class, that is, tactics. Before we send a person to the battlefield to perform assigned tasks, we follow the principle from complex to simple.
Ми йдемо по принципу від складного до простого.
The double-barreled anti-aircraft gun Zu-23-2, with the help of which it is possible to hit not only low-flying targets, but also ground light armored targets and fire points at a distance of up to 2 kilometers, has been in service for many years.
Зарекомендувала себе з дуже хорошої сторони завдяки своїй
This double-barreled anti-aircraft gun has proved itself to be very reliable due to its rapidity of fire. That is an amazing factor. Moreover, this is an indispensable feature in covering military columns. It is installed at any checkpoint, platoon point, and any firing position. In order to skillfully use any armament, including this one, the military cadet needs only desire and diligence.
бажання і старанність.
Paratroopers have to practice firing not only machine guns. The air mobile forces area also equipped with heavy artillery.
В даному класі ми підготовлюємо особовий склад.
In this class, we train the personnel to correctly and accurately use weapons. After all, these are artillery weapons. For example, howitzers, mortars, self-propelled anti-aircraft guns.
Самохідні артилерійські установки, а також турети.
It is necessary to be able to fire a weapon confidently and accurately in any combat unit. Therefore, it requires practice. But the Airborne Forces training program is designed so that every soldier can learn and shoot at a high level.
Головне завдання – це навчити курсантів, використовуючи досвід.
The main task is to teach the cadet using the experience of combat operations in the Donbass occupied territories. All instructors in our group have experience in military operations. All of them served in the 95th Brigade. Using this experience, it is necessary to teach the cadets to correctly and confidently use their weapons and quickly respond to enemy fire.
І впевнено користуватися своєю зброєю.
Troops of the air mobile forces have a special status thanks to their specific activities. Therefore, the training of paratroopers differs from that of other military units.
Відрізняється, тому що у нас головна задача, ми десантно-штурмові війська. У нас головна задача не сидіти в окопах,
Of course it differs because we are air assault troops. Our main task is not to sit in the trenches, but to storm the objects and strengthen Ukrainian positions at the border. We are more engaged in offensive operations, so our training is different from that of other troops. We need to be persistent and gain a lot of knowledge in order to clearly execute the tasks of the commanders. Also, the commander has to correctly and quickly manage his unit and its firing points.
Щоб виконувати команди командирів, так само і командир повинен правильно та швидко управляти своїм підрозділами, своїм і вогнем підрозділів.
For 3 years of military operations in the Donbass, the preparation of a new reinforcement of air mobile forces has radically changed. They are preparing universal groups of soldiers who will fight together in the units directly in the anti-terrorist operation zone. This innovation is essentially an experiment.
Ми одні з небагатьох, хто в Збройних силах України готує хлопців.
We are one of the few who train the guys in the troop units of the armed forces of Ukraine. When we mobilize our groups and battalions, they are not disbanded there. And one of the serious challenges for them is to get along with the team, because the group enters the war zone. They have to be confident in each other. Therefore, we are forming such groups and we are communicating with them. Together with us, they undergo slightly more advanced training than required. The main disciplines are tactics, firing training, combat engineering, tactical medicine, and topography as well. They have to know it. For our own experience, we know that even using a navigator, soldiers came under heavy shelling. Therefore, since then, the knowledge of maps is a compulsory discipline for our soldiers.
З того часу знання карт для наших бійців – це обов'язкова дисципліна.
A paratrooper is an example of unbending will, courage and loyalty to the country and duty. Therefore, it's no secret that many boys and in our case, even girls, dream of serving in the air mobile forces. Poltava school children came to the military training ground for a few days. These 14-16-year-old teenagers are pupils of the Poltava group of young paratroopers, Gvardia, the Guard.
Я думаю, що діти
I think that the children take the situation in the country quite seriously. They see that we are at war, and they see the enemy. Therefore, this topic is constantly discussed, and it is interesting for them. It is also quite interesting for them to be in a situation in which our guys are in combat, in the anti-terrorist operation zone. They are interested in living in tents, going out into the forest with dry soup. It is also interesting for them to fire weapons. It is interesting for them to feel themselves in the place of those they are so concerned about. It is here where the young paratroopers are trained along with the cadets of the center.
Ми намагаємось навіть
We are trying in the framework of combined arms training to give them some feasible, more profound disciplines. For example, now they are studying reconnaissance. They have camouflage absolutely the same as that of cadets, who are trained in our center. They crawl on their stomachs, lie in ambushes for hours, and then find ambushes. They will also study combat engineering. Well, there is the initial introductory course, which is the same as the course the cadets go through.
як і в курсантів.
Some teenagers have already decided on their future profession.
Тут зараз, це як
We feel ourselves there, the same as the soldiers feel themselves in the anti-terrorist operation zone. We learned a lot of new things. I enjoyed this military ordeal. I think I will enter the military academy after graduating from school.
в академії військово.
Хочу стати гідним захисником своєї держави і хочу
Most of all, I like the airborne troops. This is parachute jumping. I want to become a worthy defender of my native land, and I want to call on all young people to join this business. I would like to go to a military lyceum or college. I would like to enter the Odessa Military Academy. I am proud of the Ukrainian military, which is a patriot of my homeland.
Український військовий для мене це в першу чергу честь, гідність, сила і патріот своєї держави.
Nobody but us is the slogan of all paratroopers, which emphasizes the uniqueness and dedication of all air mobile forces and their readiness to go to the end. They were the ones who maintained their positions under the overwhelming fire of Russian multiple launch rocket systems and guns of militants, destroyed enemy equipment, and defended the Luhansk and Donetsk airports. They became part of military history when in early August 2014, the 95th Separate Air Mobile Brigade, headed by its commander and now commander of the Air Mobile Forces, Mikhailo Zabrodsky, conducted the longest raid in modern military history of the world. The Ukrainian paratroopers repeatedly showed their high professionalism and courage.
На сьогоднішній момент своїми діями
As of today, actions during the war and the heroic deeds of paratroopers once again proved that they are an elite combat unit. We are not the best, and we are not worse than all, but we are elite, and we are proud of this. It is high professionalism and thorough knowledge of their business. Secondly, this is a broad military outlook. That is, one must know not only what he or she needs to know in his or her occupation, but also be ready to replace a military comrade in a difficult time. It is a high fighting spirit, as well as understanding and endurance of a paratrooper.
Для мене
As far as I'm concerned, Air Mobile Forces are an elite force. Its force, an invincible spirit.
сила – це непереможний дух.
The heroes of today's program defend the Ukrainian state, its sovereignty and territorial integrity. The Ukrainian army and law enforcement agencies are doing everything possible to prevent civilians from taking up arms and turning Ukraine into one massive shooting gallery.